Hello guys, welcome to Chess Deep Study. Today we are going to talk about one of the checkmate patterns, the back rank mate. The back rank mate is seen quite often. It happens when a king is trapped behind its own pawn shield and gets mated by a rook or queen. Most of the time, in back rank mate is on the 8th rank. Usually this involves the formation of 3 black pawns lined up in front of the castled king. Suddenly, the protective wall of pawn turns into a death trap. Your own pieces work against you. The basic pattern is not happening quite often because people know it very well and being very careful. In this position, we can see that the pawn protects, well, not only protects, blocks the king from escaping. The back rank is weak. So we can just play that easy rook to e8 checkmate. Most often with heavy pieces of its own, sitting on the back rank, but perhaps also with other pieces that protects the needed squares. This means that you often need more than one piece aimed at the back rank to make the pattern work. A first piece is sacrificed there that will force your opponent to use up his defenses, with a second or third piece to follow up with mate. Queen to e8 check. When the king is trapped behind its pawns and you have a mighty battery on the e-file, like white does here, the immediate thought is the back rank mate. This is the most common way for the back rank mate. A battery of 2 heavy pieces on the same open file, with the forward pieces either protected by the one in the rear or sacrificed to clear the way for it by removing a guard. Against white, 3 heavy pieces chained on e8. Black has only 2 defenders, which is obviously not enough. Sometimes the diagonal also works. For example, at beginning, if the queen was on c6, instead of e5, also aim at e8 square. So rook e8, rook takes e8, rook takes e8, rook takes e8, queen takes e8 will be in checkmate. Well, after this, takes rook takes e8 is checkmate. The elements of a back rank mate seem to be in place in this position. Black king is trapped behind its pawn cover. Black has no defenders on the back rank, and white has a battery of queen and rook on the e-file. The elements of the back rank mate seem to be in place. Black's king is trapped behind its pawn cover. Black has no defenders on the back rank, and white has a battery of queen and rook on the e-file. Yet the attack comes up short because after white plays queen e8 check, black can interpose its queen to c8. Since black queen is then protecting his king, white has no way to penetrate the position. The second still is fine for white. It successfully eliminates the pressure on his king. Especially queen a4 checkmate. It doesn't just protect mate. The typical clue to the back rank mate is that your opponent has castled and has not moved his pawn in front of the king. But that is not the only way a king can get trapped on the back rank. As we have seen, you want to be alert as well to other ways as flight squares can be sealed off, especially by attackers. Your piece may land against empty squares on 7th rank. Black has opened up h7, but white closes it down with the d3 bishop. Again, white rook looks for a way to take advantage of king trapped position and see that he has a rook and queen at the ready. Black bishop guards c8 and also blocks the path of white rook to e8. It's an example of how a guard of the back rank mate can be overworked. Queen takes rook check, distracts the bishop away. Note, white bishop seals off. White attacking ideas. 1. His knight attacks g7, which traps the black king on the 8th rank. As a result, white almost can mate with rook to d8, but black rook on f8 stands in the way. 2. White queen can't reach the back rank, but white can do better by playing queen takes knight check, examining every check, forcing rook takes queen to prevent queen g7 mate. Now white can play rook to d8 check, and black will not have any useful defense. The threat posed by white queen and rook here are pretty obvious, but the knight on f5 is equally important as well. When one of your pieces seals off a flight square for the enemy king as white knight does here, and it's important to take notice and experiment with back rank mating ideas. This time, the knight at f5 seals off the black king's flight square. Rook takes f6, rook d8, queen e8, rook takes e8, knight f8, and rook takes f8, check, mate. Black to move. Pause the video and think for a few seconds if you can find a move that at least win the rook. Alright, hopefully you have found it. This position doesn't contain the clues we usually see with a back rank mate. We could only would be likely to see the idea for black by examining any check he can give. His check with his queen or loses the piece. But then there's f4 to f3 check. The pawn can't be taken, so it's forced white to move the king. If he plays king h3 or king d3, then we all play queen takes f1 and wins the rook. And if white now here plays the move that actually is not the best, king to g1, obviously king h1 will be mate to queen takes f1. But can you see why is this mate? Once black pawn is on f3, it seals off both g2 and e2. The king is trapped on the back rank, so black plays queen takes rook. So far as the recapture, king takes queen, and now mate with rook d1. So now it turns out that king to g3 or king to h3 is better. But which one is the best? King to g3, because king h3, queen takes f1, and this is the check. Remember, there could be some mate after a few moves, but we won't study them now. King g1, queen takes f1, king takes f1, and then rook d1 mate. When the enemy king position is well protected, a sacrifice may be needed to loosen it up. Perhaps the most common position is a rook next to the king, typically as a result of castling. A classic way to remove such a rook is by sacrificing a heavy piece on the square in front of it, pulling off the back rank. There are various ways to finish the sequence. In this example, black king seems well protected. Rook on d8 protects the back rank, but white has a battery direct down the d file, suggesting that the d8 rook might be drawn forward out of the position. First comes a sacrifice on the square in front of it. Queen takes bishop, rook takes queen, prevent white from playing queen takes rook mate. But rook e8 check. Now, rook e8 check forces black rook back to d8. And now it is pinned to his king, and with rooks aim at it from two directions. White mates by playing rook takes rook with either of his rooks. Of course, we can play rook e takes d8 as well. So, see how the current ideas work here. White king looks secure. It is protected by his rook. If black can drop a rook or queen into the first rank, white can either capture it with his rook or leave the rook where it is after rook to a1. And he may actually create a fly square with h3 and d3. Well, we wanted to draw the white rook out of the way. For example, to let him play rook takes f2. Which pieces are attacking f2? The queen and the rook. Well, rook takes, rook here, check here, and we don't have any mating ideas. But if queen takes, you are forced to play rook takes f2, and now the back rank is now under control. And after rook here, we can take either ways, like rook f takes f1 is checkmate. Alright, this is the end of our video, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. Bye.